Dweez says, the journalist that wrote the article criticizing them bringing back Cammy's old outfit is the same one that wrote the article about Tears of the Kingdom being better if they left out the combat. Yeah, this is a person who doesn't like video games. Okay? And like, this is not a gamer writing articles like that. Gamers don't have those thoughts. That's the kind of thought you have if you're a tourist who either wants to enjoy games because you see a lot of people around you enjoying games and you want to be in on the conversation, or it's people who are just like being like, okay, I gotta make some money, so I can write well enough to get in with these people. I don't really know anything about this stuff, so fuck it, I'm just gonna basically make stuff up. I'm gonna invent controversies out of thin air. I'm gonna word titles like fans upset about Elden Ring having no easy mode, when the fans is the writer and the 5 people around him who don't want to learn Elden Ring. Oh god, that's the stuff that bothers me. Change things from 2D art to 3D art all you want. Just stop it with these kind of articles talking about game design as if you're a person who just doesn't play video games ever. Because I'm sorry, if you say, hey, I wish I could play Tears of the Kingdom with no combat, you kind of are missing a whole lot of the reason why the systems in that game synergize. And because a lot of it is around how these things affect combat and how they can facilitate combat. A lot of them are traversal, but ultimately it's like half of the things that you would even want to make in the creative, like, I don't know, mode where you can do all sorts of cool stuff like that would be weapons. So it's like, why what would you be making those things for if there's no actual purpose? Yeah, Flawed was actually, speaking of Lofty we mentioned earlier, Lofty was the one who was really leading the charge on, hey, people on our side of like the culture war fence, please don't freak out over the Aztec game, because it's just like, it's a video game where you play as an Aztec warrior. It's not like, you don't need to be able to play as the Spanish conquistadors to make it fair, man. Just like you don't need to be able to play as, I don't know, you don't need to play as the Mongols. Lofty's example was probably pretty good. You don't need to play as the Mongols during Ghost of Tsushima. Like, you can just play as Jin. It's fine. It's okay to make that game. And, I mean, like, on the counterpoint, I would think it's 100% okay if someone was like, okay, well, I'm going to make a game where you play as a conquistador, and it shows the side where you team up with all the other tribes in South America to take out the Aztecs, because the Aztecs were insane. And that's kind of the big argument that I'm hearing against it, which I think is fair. And like, I don't really have the historical knowledge to argue the accuracy or lack thereof in any great detail, but I do know enough about video games to know that you shouldn't write a setting and a perspective off ever. Like, you know, just like, never do that, because it's a freedom of speech issue, a free expression issue, more than anything else. It's, hey, you want people to be able to make the video games that they want to make. And like, I don't think reacting to the premise is productive, because it's just going to make people say, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't make this game because people will like react, and like it'll really cause a lot of controversy. And I mean, maybe some people might be doing that intentionally, which is, you know, another marketing angle I suppose you can go down. But I think that more so than that, it's just, you gotta like rate the game when it comes out. And I think that game that's a fake trailer. Like, that's a gameplay target. It's not because they didn't even say pre-alpha build or anything like that on it. Like, that is just, it's CGI meant to look like a video game, which is running. And, you know, I think they did an okay job of that. 60 FPS trailer. It mostly looks like it's stuff that could be gameplay. I don't know if it's going to be any good. It kind of looks sort of Last of Us derivative-y, like Assassin's Creed light, indie style. And, you know, that could be good, it could be bad. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know. I don't think... I think that the people who say, oh, you can't make this game because it doesn't represent blank, like, to me, it's the Anita Sarkeesian argument. You know, it's coming from the opposite angle. This is like, oh god, you're making a game where you play as an Aztec warrior as if that's a good thing to aspire to. It's like, well, I mean, no, Trevor in GTA is not a good thing to aspire to either, though, and it's fun to play as him. Like, I mean, it's not like, oh, every game I want to be Trevor, but yeah, you know, you can make a game where you play as Trevor. That's cool. And yeah, I mean, I guess maybe that's a bad example because you actually can change the perspective you play as in GTA 5. So maybe Trevor's actually the worst. Let's say, I don't know, the guy in Manhunt. Like, or, I mean, realistically, Agent 47. Agent 47's not a good person. Like, he just will murder people that he's hired to murder. He doesn't ask too many questions, you know? But, like, I mean, that's what I mean. It's okay. Like, I want those games to be made. And I want them to be good or suck. And then have us talk about that more so than just being like, the sheer premise of this is bothering me. Same thing we were talking about earlier with the people who don't seem to support Cammy in any of her forms. Be like, she gets changed and her hair's cut and she's an SJW, but I'm just like, yo, but look at those yoga pants. Like, I mean, let's not shit on the new Cammy design too quick, boys. Like, let's think about what we're actually talking about here. And then the people on the other side of the camp, when they release the classic costume, it's like, can't believe they brought that costume back. Of course they would bring it. It's like, yeah, I mean, you know what? Yeah, we like Cammy's fucking one-piece bathing suit, okay? Like, it's actually not even that crazy. Like, there's a lot... You can... I mean, when you compare that to a bikini, and you consider that both of them are, like, both what Cammy wears and just a normal-ass bikini are the things that women wear at the beach regardless, it's like, well, I mean, I don't know, is there any reason we can't see that? Like, I mean, why is that bad? I don't get it. In conclusion, I just want to play video games, man. I want to play video games where I play as an Aztec. I want to play video games where I play as I don't know, Roman centurion looking rogue in Diablo. I want to play as my I don't know, Ryu in Street Fighter, and as Bison in Street Fighter, and Vega and Sagat, you know, like, let's make games where we have all these different ways to play them and stuff. That's great. But, you know, if you want to just take a perspective and be like, I mean, you can say a game that I don't really like all that much. You could say, hey, yeah, you can make a game where you play as a super buff lady leading around a trans teenager, and also we're going to destroy a whole lot of your other characters. I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, you can do that, but maybe it's not the best call. But, you know, I never would say that type of game can't be made. And The Last of Us 2 is a game that a lot of people like, even though I'm not crazy about it. Not necessarily because of that premise. The shitting on the characters that came before it part is probably what bothers me the most. But honestly, I think the biggest thing that bothers me about Last of Us Part 2 right now is the game design. I just don't think it's that good. I think people give it too much of a pass for quality because it's Naughty Dog. Don't tell them about Dead or Alive. Yeah, I mean, seriously, we've played a fair amount. I have Bayonetta right behind me, man. Like, I like sexy women in video games. It's fine. It doesn't hurt anybody at all. And I mean, for me, I don't think it does anything of, I don't think it's in any way disrespectful to my wife, because I consistently say that she just looks like Bayonetta. So like, the reason I put that poster there is because I thought it was kind of funny, because it almost sort of looks like I have a poster of X-Ray Girl behind me. And, you know, I'm an X-Ray Girl simp. I'm the #1 X-Ray Girl simp. World champion. It's weird that the same people upset that Cammy's old design are fine with their new one when the highlights her figure almost the same way. I would argue it's more revealing. Like, it's, I mean, you're seeing less actual skin, but her pants are just a black texture on her character model, basically. Like, there's nothing to the imagination. I mean, granted, she's not, like, anatomically correct, but because why would they do that? But although, wasn't there a game where it turned out everyone was anatomically correct when they, like, I think it was like Horizon? That's like, they're like, wait, why did they model their dicks?
Did you meet her?
Tried to look for the trailers in the Warhammer channel and it wasn't there. GameSpot is the only place I could find it too. Yeah, because it's ad buy. That's the deal. That's why I'm not crazy about the integrity of modern gaming media, because I think there's a lot of marketing involved in it and not very much analysis, criticism, and actually trying to say things about video games that people are actually going to care to hear. Like, I mean, as much as basic as that sounds, it's like, well, I don't know. It's a lot of, oh, new Call of Duty out again. Of course, 8 out of 10. Of course, 9 out of 10. The GameStop, I guess, is a little harsher than places like IGN or Kotaku generally, but I don't know. I still think they're kind of garbage tier in a lot of ways. And I mean, it's like, in a way, it's not their fault. It's kind of like that's the way this industry functions. Like, it's how it produces income, is ad revenue. So you got to do things like be like, okay, well, we'll give you $10,000 if you only show your game on our thing because it's a good trailer, and people will be like, oh, like let's talk about it. So let's go to that place, and they have to go to GameSpot now. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's just I don't really subscribe to a lot of it. I'm just like, well, I don't know. I think that the big problem with games journalism is that a lot of the people doing it and getting paid for it don't actually respect the profession. They don't respect it as a concept. They think it's a joke, so why would they ever try? You know?